We had this saying in Scouts that except for the lead dog, the view never changes. uh, make sure the truck's locked. Haven't been down this trail with y'all in a while. Different than the park, this is part of the Florida trail system, so it's a little rougher. The other place is a city park, which in a pinch, that's fine. Had a little extra time today, taking the next 2 days off. Nephew is graduating this evening, and if I didn't talk about it before, super proud of him. For those old school previous channel friends, you may remember I talked about when the custody changed from my brother for them, and things were going to be changing for my house. But that the older one's graduating tonight. His brother will be graduating next year. I don't know. I do feel, though, and this is something that a close friend of mine here on YouTube, Daddy O California, because he was raised by his grandparents, I believe, too. And it was something that I didn't comprehend until a couple of years ago, was how when you're raised by your grandparents, you end up losing a parent sooner than what you might be mature enough to handle. So instead of, say, like me, for example, I'm 50 years old and my parents are still with us. You lose a parent at the age of 14 or 12. Just moments when you really need them the most. And in the case of my father-in-law, I think this goes back to something I haven't talked about the philosophy of in a while. Oh, fucking spiderweb. Sorry for the sound effect. There's an age that you reach when you no longer need your mom as much, and you more so need your dad. And in the case of my father-in-law passing, they essentially lost a father figure in the moments when they would essentially need it most. Maybe in your late teens, early to mid 20s, when you finally, if you're me, when you finally come to your senses a little bit and feel the need to apologize for being a childish peckerhead. If you're lucky. Seems in my experience, though, some folks don't grow out of that. Yeah, it's okay, though. It would be interesting, and it's kind of in a different part of the county, hiking wise. There's some trails like this that lead to water, rivers at least. It's not anything like this close to the ocean. You get closer to the Gulf, and you don't quite have the slash pines or the oaks anymore. It goes to pretty gooey swamp in a hurry. I mean, we'll get to that. You having trouble, Oscar? What are you doing? He keeps kicking back like a bug's bothering him. So these woods are actually from very early on, say about 2007 when I started on YouTube. This section of woods is where the video footage was taken. Certainly different. I don't know how much spring hiking we did back then. It wasn't this green. We were more so fall. Spring work tends to keep us pretty busy, so you don't get quite the greenery when you go. Like there's an area probably low on, impossible to really tell, where it kind of clears out, and we would test out our hammock equipment, that kind of thing. Some of this though, we've got a pretty healthy homeless population, so I'm always weary to encroach on other people's. Well, if you're making your home in the woods, I can respect that. Again, what's sort of fascinating as I'm walking through here is the lack of game trail. I mean, compared to say my property up north. But this is also not this particular section, but once, I think if we make it to the fence break, over on the other side is where the section for hunting and the game management zone starts. I think there's a sign for it. But I have seen some pictures, some game footage of some pretty awesome bucks in these woods. I mean, by any measure, not just Florida. They've been doing, it's called QDM, Quality Deer Management, that mandates they want 3 tines on a beam, so it's really allowed the male deer population to come up, get us back into a little bit more quality. Back in the day, when I was a kid, you know, the old timers, they didn't want you to kill any doe at all, and any buck was absolutely fair game. So you'd get guys like my uncle. He's never, in his 292 years upon this earth, and all of his near 3 centuries of life, that old crusty, crotchety, no cartilage having motherfucker, he's never brought down anything bigger than a 4-pointer. Moves around too much, gets down too soon, never willing to let him grow. And man, if he's with you on the property and you kill a doe, buddy, it is trouble. Because in their mind, the old school thinking way of hunting, when you kill a doe, you've essentially killed every single deer that would have ever popped out of her too. Thusly, you commit generational suicide. Nowadays, quality deer management and healthy population ratios find that they found scientifically out that a 1-to-1 ratio actually increases the populations. However the math works out on that, I know not. No. Maybe that's it back there. The old, there's a lot of nice hardwoods back here. But it's this cool spot, going back to the hammocking stuff. I don't know, it's too grown up. We'll have to come back here in the fall, y'all. It's fall, y'all. I don't remember it being this far to the fence line. But here we are. One particular time before hiking on this property, the police, the cops actually stopped me as I was getting my shit out of my car. I was taking a little day pack out of the trunk. It was back when I had this old 1995 Ford Taurus. Now, ironically, at the time, being a 1995, it wasn't terribly old by old car standards. It would have been, say, 13 years old then when this happened. But it was definitely a shitbox. It had the problem that a lot of Fords from the 80s and 90s had, where the plastic portions of, say, their bumpers and a couple other exterior panels would actually rot and become like real brittle and crack off. But dude, that fucking car, I don't know if maybe a dirtbag in the area had the same kind of car as me, but cops would follow me. I would get fucking pulled over. I do even close to a rolling stop, I was getting pulled over. And it was just a pain in the ass. But it made me realize that in some cases, not everyone, but in some cases, it isn't like when you're getting hassled by the cops, it isn't like a white-black thing. It's more along the lines of just a fucking being poor thing. At least that was the case with that stupid fucking car. Make matters worse, it was I had sold a Mustang GT in order to get that Taurus. Kind of dumb now that I think about it. Not that I'm ultra full of regrets about it, but I don't understand what my logic was at the time. Me just being weird and needing a change. Oh, this is nice. I don't remember this. This must be some kind of an access road. Really takes the fucking adventure out of it, if you ask me. Man. Okay, to give you an idea how long it's been since I've been back here, there's no more fence. Damn. And not even a semblance of where the fence may have been. Huh. I was gonna think maybe a little bit there, but not so fucking much. Let's see what's going on over there, Oscar. Seems like it's partially closed off, and I'm not quite equipped to go through that at all. Just got my workout clothes on, so my pants aren't rugged enough, either canvas or blue jeans, to fuck around with that. All right, let's head back, buddy. Speaking of, ain't it interesting how a trail looks completely different going back the other direction than it was when you came? Not that I need any particular help with it. I am famous for getting turned around on a blood trail and thinking I'm finding new blood, and it's just where we came from. It's only when I run out of markers, so I gotta always pack plenty of little flags, so I can keep track of where the hell I've been. But were it to be my fate to get lost in the woods somewhere, I'd be all right with it. Although I've been close to it and hadn't had water for not really a day so much. I think it was like 16 hours without water in the woods on a hike, maybe longer. I'll tell you, it sucks. That shit where it's like, oh, 3 days without water. Yeah, well, maybe. But how many days or how long without water are you still functional? Wow. Sirens in the traffic sounds really take you out of it too, don't they? Fucking cities. So I have been all the way to the end of this trail, and it combines with one of the main trails going through that state wood, which is an interesting hike. But areas like this where it opens up, and let me tell you, when it is 99 to 103 degrees out here, when you get out of that shade, it's rough. And something that you can't, I don't know if it's something you can't really acclimate to. Now with the humidity. By no means am I saying that to brag on the weather or my toughness to withstand it at all. Fucking all my vehicles are air conditioned. At work, my office is air conditioned. And all I can do is feel guilt in my air conditioned office for the hell that I subject my guys through as they're making the business money. I'm not being dramatic about it. Well, that's a cool looking fucking tree. This is exactly what I'm talking about, where the view on the trail. Totally didn't appreciate that shit on the way out. Man. This is nearly going back to my roots. This is the kind of the original core of my original channel. Just having a conversation, not a conversation so much as what's going on with the channels and everything. When I first started out and there wasn't as much backpacking or hiking content, I felt that I had something to contribute, to add to it. Ironically, back then, there wasn't much shooting content either. Not sure what I was looking for to see back then. Maybe Missing Spirit of the Wild or TNN Outdoors. Probably mostly those two. But instead of the more things change, the more things stay the same. It's more like the more things change, the more things change. We live in a world of change for its own sake. You don't get to own shit. You just get to subscribe shit. You don't get to be an owner. You're merely a tenant. That could be nature, though. Are we ever really owners? It's merely tenants of the space that we're taking up. Truly, the only dirt we own is stuck to the bottom of our shoes. I mean, we die and somebody gets stuck with a bill. You see this, people? I think this video should serve as evidence that I would be no good at retirement. I need to work. Otherwise, I'd just be doing shit like this. Be able to crazy 40 cat style. Man, I miss that son of a bitch. I met him over at the beach. A friend had just bought a house in Madeira, and we were working on his boat ramp, and Cat owned a hardware store in town. It was real coincidental. I mean, I knew he was in my area. It's pretty trippy to run into a person like that. But he had some badass videos. He was pretty consistent, but his shop isn't that far away from the Gulf. So in the morning before he'd open up, he'd go out to the beach and take a little bit of footage, show his watch, which I think it was like an Invicta blue and gold diver, one of those kind of a Rolex ripoff. They make a good one and then they make a shitty one. Invicta does. I've owned the shitty one, and let me tell you something. The shitty one does not hold up for yours truly. I don't think I even got a year out of that motherfucker. I had a friend that was, when I was a kid. He was scared of trees at night. That's probably smart. Probably some kind of genetic memory. That tree made me think of that. Things creepy as I'll get out. can't stop thinking about that little holler that we used to go to off the trail. There too, I don't know how long of a video I can make either, if I can find this. All right, here's what we're gonna do, Oscar. We're gonna punch over to that old spot and see, and win, lose, or draw. What do you like? The trail's that way. And win, lose, or draw, we end the video there. Let's see what's going on down here. Yeah. Nope. It's actually old fire break. Okay. So that's what's up. All right. Well, fuck that shit, I guess. Catch y'all later.